Nikki, and I am a plant collector, and I also run an online plant store business based here in Toronto, Canada. And here in my channel, I share my plant parenting journey as well as behind the scenes of owning a plant store business. So it's been a while, and I've been gone for a week, maybe more than, I think it's been 10 days since my last upload, maybe 11 by the time I upload this. But I just took a break because as some of you may already know, if you're following me on Instagram, as well as my shop, that it has been a crazy and wild past 2 weeks for the shop because we restocked on our pots and the orders were so crazy. That's also why my past few videos here on YouTube were featuring them. And I just figured we needed a break. And now that I'm back, I'm here to share more plant stuff with you guys. And today we're going to be talking about Monsteras. I know I haven't really shared them much, but there's a story behind it. I just wanted to share that I did have a lot of Monsteras before. I did had some varieties of Monstera deliciosas, and let's say for the albo, I think I did had 5 of them. Originally, it was just 3 because I liked the specimen of 3 particular albos, and then I remember chopping some of them. That's why I ended up with 5. And then I also had the Oria, which was very nice. The slow burn and everything that comes with having an Oria. You already know the anticipation. I was enjoying that plant very much. I did had some Thai constellations. I remember having 3 of them. One was straight from a TC, tissue culture plantlet, and I did shared how I the flask and everything, how I grew it. And although it's not really a very nice specimen, I would say it's a regular Thai constellation, but the reason why I've been keeping that one is because of the sentimental value. I learned so much about the flasking tissue culture plants through that Monstera Thai constellation. So I had that one. And then I had another one which was sold to me as creme brulee, and I still have that. I just don't know if it's still creme brulee or whatever, or it's just highly variegated Thai constellation, but you know, it is what it is. I like how it's growing right now. And then I had another regular Thai constellation just because it was nicely variegated. So that's it for the deliciosas. And then I did had probably all of the Adansonii that you could think of. I did had the albo variegation of the Adansonii, and then the Oria variegation, and I still have both of them gladly. I also have the Swedish Ghost, and I've been looking around for the Archipelago Ghost. I had that before, but then I sold it because I thought I don't like it, and then now I want it again. Typical. And then I also had the other Adansonii, like the SP Laniata, and then the Leckleriana. I also have Stanleyana Albo, Stanleyana Aurea. Well, I just got rid of some of them for some reasons. But what happened to my many Monstera deliciosas is that I had thrips. Thrips. And it was my first time encountering them a while ago, and it was so sad. Honestly, they actually came from some imports of anthuriums from Indonesia. And I'm not saying that all import plants have pests or whatever. It's probably also due to my lack of prevention. But I did got that covered and everything. But the Monsteras that I had, they started to look not so nice, to the point that the only way for me to save them was to basically chop them in chunks and get rid of the leaves, and then just pray that they would grow again into the nice specimen that they were. At the same time, just to think positive and not to basically get sad over what happened. I just told myself hey, it's for the good because I'm running out of space, and maybe it's a nice time to start from chunks. But then, due to my neglect, again, it's on me. I threw them in a bin. I closed it, put it on top of the shelves that I have, which are very high. I need to get something like a chair to step onto just to reach them. So the thing is, I never really checked them, and a lot of them have rotted. So I was left with just one thigh constellation, the one that didn't had a lot of thrips, and it's now in my Millsville cabinet. It's just there. It was growing slow for a while, but I now have more, and honestly, I feel like this video would have a part 2 because I purchased more to replace my Monstera deliciosas, but they're not yet here with me. But for now, I think I'm going to share the ones that are here with me and where they actually came from, which is so fun. And we might do some repotting and stuff, and maybe propagate as well. So I'll be just setting up my table here in this very spot, and I'll gather the things that I need. Okay, and now we're back and we're all set for our Monstera chores. What I have here in front of me is basically just this potting mat. I've been using this for a while now. I'm trying to make sure that I keep things clean as much as possible. But yeah, sometimes I forget to use it, but here it is. And I do have my shears in here with me because we're going to chop some monsteras, and also just a scoop for the media that I'm using. And about the media, I do have this mix that I made myself, and it's a very, very chunky mix that honestly my monsteras loved it before, and I haven't really released it at the prop studio just yet because so far the ingredients that I have in here are quite pricey, and I don't want to release a potting mix that is pricey for everyone. But this works very well for my monsteras, and they root like crazy. I am probably going to show you the thigh that was left with me, and it's growing very well. But yeah, some of the things that I have in here are cocoa chunks and cocoa coir. I do have some sphagnum moss, some charcoal, horticultural charcoal, some perlite. I did added some great white in here to encourage growth. I do have some worm castings and pumice. So I've been playing around with its ratio, trying to see what's basically best for the monsteras. And once I figure it out, it usually takes me like months of observation with the plants that I try the potting mixes on. That's the only time I plan to like mass produce, mass mix them, and then put some at the prop studio. But for now, this is staying with me, and I'll continue observing because I now have more monsteras again. So the first monstera that I will show you guys is something that we won't touch because it's already doing fine, but I figured I'll just show you guys. This is the Monstera thigh constellation that's left with me. So it was sold to me as creme brulee, and at the time, yeah, I dig that. And I don't know, eventually it started growing leaves like this. I wouldn't say this is very creme brulee, but then right now these are the leaves that it's been growing, and this is the latest one. As you can see, it's very new and it's still expanding and hardening, but it's still very pretty. There's a lot of the creamy variegation in it. So yeah, it is what it is. So as much as I love self-watering pots, as you guys already know, I'm crazy for it, and I'm sharing it with you guys through the prop studio. For monsteras though, I don't like them in self-watering pots because the plant themselves, they don't like staying wet. As a matter of fact, they appreciate getting dry from time to time. So the perfect pot for them are regular pots or pots with good aeration. As you guys can see, these pots, the round pots from the prop studio, have slots on the sides. So this is very good for them to have the aeration that they needed. And also at the same time, because of this, the media doesn't stay wet for long. And like I said, that's what they like. And I'm using the mix here, the one that I showed you guys in here. And here are the roots. As you guys can see, it's getting crazy. And I don't even know how I'm going to repot this, but I don't think it needs a repot anytime soon. I'm okay with them being like this. I do use this kind of a cash pot that I just decided to use. This was recommended by my friend David, and he found this on IKEA. I forgot the name, but I'm probably going to put it on the screen. And it fits perfectly for this large. I think this is the large round pots that we have at the prop studio. It's also perfect for someone like me who wants to keep the aesthetic of having like matching pots and cash pot, whatever. And yeah, I think this is perfect. There's another one that's kind of like taller like this, but I don't really need that because it's gonna be pointless to use that when I'm after the aeration, right? So yeah, we're not going to use this as self-watering anyway, so this is just perfect because you're just going to use it like, you know, to drain the water that you're giving your Monstera anyways. And then later on, I sometimes dump it. Sometimes I leave it because it's not that much. Generally, my Monsteras are happy with this setup. It took me a while to figure out what Monsteras want because I've been forcing them to go semi-hydro, and I know some people have huge success doing Monsteras in Leca or other setup like maybe Pon. It just didn't work for me, and this was the best setup that I find, and also it's very easy to maintain. So again, Monstera is not in self-watering pots. That's just how it works for me. But the mix that I made, it's still soilless because generally I'm not a fan of soil. But yeah, happy Monstera. And this is the only Monstera that was left from my original batch of collection. The next one that I'm going to show you is another one that we won't touch, but I just like to show you guys because there's a story behind it. So this one over here, it's another Monstera Thigh constellation, and this one is a gift from my friend Tiana, Next Foliage. As you guys can tell already, if you guys have been watching my videos, I'm kind of spoiled by my friends. They just keep on giving me plants. But to be fair, I also give them plants, okay? We're all generous towards each other. She gave me this one because she knew that I lost my other 5 constellations. So this one looks like a mid-cut. I don't know if you guys can see it. You should see it. So it's a mid-cut, and there's no growth point just yet. I think I had it for a month now. I've been trying my best to train my plants in ambient because it's going to be a future problem for me if I keep on spoiling them, like with the high humidity and cabinets and stuff like that. Because once they grow out of the cabinet and they don't fit in there anymore, it's going to be another transition, and it usually takes time. So right now what I'm doing with my new plants is basically I throw them to ambient from the get-go. I know it's kind of tough loving, but it's working so far. Like, they're doing fine. They just take some time to adjust, and they don't give me a new leaf that fast compared to when they were in cabinets or in bins, or even when they were in the tent that I had before. I'm going to ask her for a photo of the mother plant and maybe show it to you guys so that we could have an idea of how this one will grow. But regardless, I'm going to do my best to take care of this because it's very sentimental for me. It's a gift from a friend who was kind enough to share it with me. So yeah, can't wait for this to grow, and you guys will probably see some updates about this one on future videos or even on my socials. The next Monstera that I'm going to show you guys is another gift, and it actually just arrived yesterday. So this one over here is a gift from Kitty. Kitty does photosynthesis. She has a lot of Monsteras, and She loves them. She grows them well. And it's a very funny story because we all know in our friend group how she's crazy about Monsteras and that she values her collection of Monsteras despite our common problem, space. And yeah, because of that, she decided to donate this to me. She decided to give this to me because, again, she knew that I lost some of my Monsteras. At this rate, I basically have my Monstera Thigh constellations back. But also, the reason is because she wants to downsize her collection because her collection is crazy. I don't know how many Thigh constellations and how many albos, different type of albos. That's why we're friends. We're all like that, to be honest. So yeah, she's downsizing her collection. She sent this through David, and David came here to my place yesterday with a big bag, and this one's in it. But yeah, so downsizing her collection, okay, I get it and I appreciate it. I would take care of this plant and would send her updates on how this would grow. We always do that. But it's so funny because the other day while I was in vacation, but I was casually browsing Facebook and stuff, I saw this post on a local group saying that there are a bunch of Pi constellations in a Canadian Tire that's near my place. And then I sent it to the group chat. One of our friend Emma, Immaculate Plants, is ready to go. That store is close to her, and she was like, I'm gonna go there. So she went there. Of course, she grabbed the most eye-catching one for herself, and then she took a video of everything else and let us choose. Kitty with a great weakness for Monsteras bought another. So now I'm waiting for Emma to drop it off here to me, and I'm going to ship it to Kitty anytime soon, which means she basically sent me this one to downsize her collection, but she bought another about this size too. Also gorgeous. I don't know. I don't know. It's a problem. It's a problem. We know. We're quite aware of that. But how can you say no to Monsteras? They're very nice, very beautiful. Space is a future problem. But yeah, so for this one, I'm going to repot it with you guys. And I'm going to show you how I actually repot. Because I believe that we have different ways of repotting. And as you guys can see, I think this one is in cocoa. And it's very well rooted. Like I told you guys earlier, Kitty has been doing great with her Monsteras. So we're not going to disturb it. We're not going to do anything about what's going on inside. I like cocoa myself. The only thing that I don't like in here is this. I have a thing for pots, and you guys already know that. That's why I'm your pot dealer. We're going to use this. This is a large size round pot from the Prop Studio. And yeah, I think this is the perfect size. A little, just very little upsize for this Monstera. And I think one challenge is that there's a root that's coming out. You know what? We'll just cut this deli container. This is the same size with the other thigh constellation that I have. And I grabbed some scissors. The good thing is that this deli container is not that hard to cut, so we'll do that. We'll try our best to save this root. Otherwise, you know, worst case scenario that we can't save it, it's not that bad because there's a lot of roots, as you can see. But yeah, we'll do our best. Here we go. I don't want to murder your roots. Because my goal is to not touch anything, I need to cut it from here. there. Then I'm just going to give it a little squeeze so that it would give me space. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. Like if you squeeze it, there's going to be some space. So you could put in the scissors. Yeah, let's do it. I'm going as slow as I could and as gentle as I could so that no roots would be damaged. Otherwise, I won't forgive myself because my friend took care of this plant, grew this plant nicely, and I'll just ruin it with just one move, like one dumb move with my scissors. So we're not going to rush anything. There. So I was able to cut the entire thing, and that should allow us to get the root that we want to save. But there. Just be careful when doing this because, like, for me, I could easily cut myself and put anything for the plant. Okay, so I think we're safe from here. If you could cut it some more, then do it. Yeah, we're not reusing this anyways. Oh my god. From here, we can basically guide this root over here. And there you go. So we managed to save the root and we didn't break any. None of them. Okay, so now that the plant is out, the only thing that I'm going to do is basically add some of my mix. We're not going to remove the media. I'm not going to touch anything. Like I said, the plant is already doing good in this cocoa, and I'm also using cocoa, so I'm fine with it. The only struggle that someone repotting would have is transitioning, especially let's say if I was still using leca like before or pon. This would have been a challenge, quite a challenge. But since I'm also using cocoa in this mix, it's fine. And yeah, I'd rather not touch it. But since we're sizing up a little, we need to add the media. So we'll just put some at the bottom. Wait, let me mix it. Let me give it a good mix. Like that, and yeah. Okay, so this should be enough. So you can see that at the bottom. And then we put the plant as is. Like that. We're not touching anything. And then, because there are some space, since we sized up, and anyways, it's going to be good for the rest of the roots, we're just going to add some of the media at the sides. Like, just be careful like that. Just have to tap it like that so the media would go down. So you can also squeeze the pot or like tap it like this so that the media would go to the spaces like easily. Honestly, this looks enough. As you water it, eventually the media will keep on going down, and that should work. That should be enough for now. I think I'm happy with how it looks like. It looks so pretty. My son's outside with my in-laws. So this is so nice. I really like how it looks like. Thank you so much, kitty. I now have a new tie. I can recreate my profile photo. So now that we're done with the Monstera 5 constellations that I have, like I said, we'll probably have a part 2 because I don't have any Albo, Aurea, Mint, White Monstera. I had them before. But yeah, I don't have any of them right now, but I already purchased them. So I'll just wait for them. And maybe we'll have another repot session with Monsteras or just show and tell because I don't know if I would touch them or whatever. But we're going to move on to Adansonii and another story to tell. So this is Monstera Adansonii. I'm not quite sure if it's albo or tricolor. It does look like a tricolor. I'm probably going to have to confirm it to Tiana because this came from her. And this has multiple cuttings and they're all now growing. I threw it in my psychoprop mix, which is my favorite mix for propagation. I use this for most plants that I propagate, like Hoyas and some Monsteras, some philodendrons. It depends. Sometimes even begonias, but like for begonias, I just prop it straight to the begonia mix. And this mix is good for propagation only. I haven't quite studied if it's good for like long term, but I doubt. Mostly because it's a balance of a very aerated media, which is the perlite, and with a very light weight and retains water and nutrients, which is the vermiculite. And then I added some stuff, magical stuff, to encourage fast root growth for propagations. That's also why, if you guys have watched my propagation videos, like give the propagations at least a week, they would root fast. And that was even back when I was using stratum, just perlite, even leca or cocoa, whichever media I prop, I sprinkle some magic. And I have it in this mix for propagation here. And it's going to be available at the prop studio soon. But again, this is only for propagation. But the good thing about this is that anything that you prop in this media could transition easily to semi-hydro setup, or it doesn't even matter if you're using soil. Unlike, I'm sure you've heard of how you propagate something in water or in perlite, and then since they develop water roots, when you move them to soil, they will rot. So that doesn't happen here so far, based on my experience. But yeah, it's always an experiment. It's not even that expensive. So I would say maybe you should try. So Tiana gave this to me probably a month ago. And now I think I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuttings in here. And if you look closely, there are new growths for all of them already. Maybe if I show it to you guys like this, I hope you guys see it. But yeah, the reason why she gave me this one, it's not because my Adansonii got thrips. They're still with me. But my Adansonii, the tricolor and the albo, I had them both. They started reverting on me. They did. Both of them. So, Tiana to the rescue. She was like, I'm going to chop mine and I'm going to give you some cuttings. Like a bouquet of Adansonias. And here it is. It is a bouquet. If I leave it like this, or if I pot it up to the media, which is this one that I'm going to use permanently, it's going to be a full pot. But yeah, we'll figure out what we're going to do with this. So, yeah, my Adansonii reverted. I left it growing, ignored it. And when I checked it out again, here is my Adansonii. The other leaves at the bottom, they were very green already, like really screaming, give up on me, I'm reverting. And then it started growing some leaves with little variegation again, like this. And then now, the newest leaf, there. So, and looking at the new leaf that's about to unfurl. It's not reverted. It's back. I would say it's back. And again, this one is in this mix, the chunky, very chunky mix that I have. And it's rooting well. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep it like this. It's in a small round aerated pot from the prop studio as well. I'm so sorry, Tiana. You can have your props back, or I can keep one. The next one that I'm going to show you guys is something that I really love, but we need to prop it. We need to chop it and maybe turn it into something like this. I don't know, but you see why. So this one over here is my Adansonii Aurea. I'm starting to feel like this is Aurea. But yeah, we need to ask. As you guys can see, I don't like putting moss poles on my plants. But also, it's weird if I just let it grow like that. The reason why it's looking like this, as if it was pulled, is because it was growing at the corner of my Milsbo cabinet, so it was climbing. It has a support, which is the wall of the cabinets. So it's been growing fine. I chopped this so many times already before. So many people had their Aureas from me through the prop studio. I'm going to chop it. And I'm going to turn it into a bouquet like this so I could share it with people. Or I don't know. Maybe next time I would grow it in a pole. Give in. But yeah, it's well rooted. I love it. Kind of dry right now, but it doesn't matter. It likes being dry. Let's start chopping shears. So many aerial roots as well. So it means it's going to be easy for us to grow this. But yeah, just be careful where we chop. And I'm going to take this as a top cutting. And probably, you know what? Despite being brown, I'm going to chop it too. So there. And this is our top cutting. And then now we chop all of this one node. And oh, this one has very nice aerial. Okay. Oops. The roots are basically in the media already. Oh, that means I can prop them in the same media. Wait. Let's make use of this then. For this one, I don't mind touching it because I'm basically restarting again. Few roots hurt. Sorry. But yeah, we need to get the roots because it rooted into the media, which is a good thing. There. Which means we can pot it already in that media. So for those cuttings that has this, we'll do that. Here's another one. And this is a very good specimen. Oh my. Let's see. Wow. It's probably rooted very well in here. Look at the roots. Okay, so we now have two of them. Any more? For sure. The next one is not so much, but it's also a very nice cutting. Okay. And the last one. Oh, this is nicely rooted, but how do I get this? I know what to do now. This is the next one. Nice leaf, but the roots are tiny. And then it's so crazy how this happened. There's actually a lot of nodes. We're going to have a lot of wet sticks, but they are well rooted. This is the last leaf. And again, the roots. And then we're left with this, but we're going to cut them per node. This is what we're dealing with. And I see 2 growth points. No, 3 growth points. No, 4 growth points. Wait, all of them has new growth points. So honestly, there. All of them have growth points. So I'm thinking of chopping them and potting them up. Do we do that? Yeah, we'll do that. Here's 1, 2. Trying to be careful with the growth points. There's 3. I did not expect this. What a turn of events. How many is that? 3. So 4. This one's too close, so I'll chop 2 nodes for this one. There are 2 nodes in this one. And this one as well. Okay, so because of that, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, just 9. The ones with short roots would go to this propping mix, the psycho prop mix that we have. I'll turn them into a bouquet like this, but that's for later. We'll prioritize this one because this is a very messy situation. I already grabbed some pots that I use. These are the pots that I use for props like this that obviously will eventually sell this. I don't need that many cuttings. Probably the bouquet is enough for me. And I'm probably going to ask my friends if they have it, and then I'll give them some. And the rest will go to the prop studio in the future. I did not expect this to happen at all. So what we're going to do, we're just basically going to reuse the media and then use this mix for the ones that are rooted. I usually just add some mix of leca and pon and perlite at the bottom. And then start cutting. Okay. First this one. I'm grabbing our rooting hormone. This one. So far it's been working well. Just put them all in there, make it easier. I have a cover for this anyways. And yeah, we'll just dip them in there. Then pot it. The roots are very happy. And as you guys can see, I'm trying to keep the chunk above the media. So I'm holding it like this with my fingers while I put the media in it. I think others would ignore the roots. They would cut it and just start from the chunk. But for me, it's doing fine, so why hurt it? Grab another. We'll do the same thing. Oops, no. You know, a lot of times people like probably wonder if I actually know what I'm doing. No, I don't. I just go with the flow. I just do what I feel like is best done. Most times for me, it's just common sense, or like it depends on my past experiences as well. If I experience something bad, I will definitely not do it again. And if I experience something good, I'll keep on doing that. So that's one of my most basic, ways in this plant care and growing journey. This one has a lot of roots. So why do I keep on forgetting? It's just in front of me. You guys must be wondering why I'm not putting the rooting hormone directly on the roots, but instead I'm dipping the chunk. It's because it also helps the part where I chop to kind of like not rot, if that makes sense. And it's going to distribute the contents of this thing anyways through its entire body, the plant's body. I don't You get that. But yeah, it also works that way. If you want to dip the roots, it also works that way. But with what I did, I kind of saved the chunk from rotting, and also some part of the roots on the top were covered with it. So YOLO. It's been working for me so far. So yeah, if you know something else, like any tip in using rooting hormone, then yeah, please share it. There. So add more media. I reuse media as long as the previous plant in it did not rot. Otherwise, just throw it away. Toss it. I toss it in the garden. Another one over here. Rooting hormone. Don't forget. A lot of roots. I'm very impressed with that Aurea. And I thought we're just going to do a few chops, but here we are now. I'm not so sad about my Monsteras anymore because of this replacements, thanks to my friends. I'm really glad that they are willing to like share their plants. It's not every day you meet those kinds of people. I don't know what I did to deserve them. I'm not even nice. These are used media, but I washed them and let it dry outside. The good thing about having a big backyard is that you can do this kind of chores, and it helps me, save the media. Because as much as it's easy to just buy them, sometimes, we overlook our expenses on these things. Like, we always think that we're only spending on the plants. Yes, it could be true. Plants are expensive, but also you need to be smart about your media. If it's something that you could reuse, do it. You just have to wash it. Be mindful if you know that it came from a plant that rotted or something like that. A plant that had pests, then maybe don't use those anymore. Who knows? You can never risk, like the pests could be living in there. But if it came from a very clean plant that you just needed to repot, then yeah, you can use it again. So we have one more chunk, and then we're moving on to the ones that have a leaf. Now we have 3 of this that have very good roots, and this is how we're doing this. Oopsie. Yeah. Then for this one, maybe sprinkle a little on the roots, and then pot them. I still try to like make sure the chunk is kind of exposed post onto the surface so that I would see if there's a new growth, and also at the same time it won't get too wet. Honestly, we could sell this already for very low prices, but I'd rather wait for new growth because some people are too impatient for it, and they kind of freak out when they see no growth point. So yeah, we'll do the waiting for them. Last one. Okay. I also like growing Monsteras in moss, especially if they are for sale. It's just that these ones are rooted already. We'll just do that because they've been used to that media. For this ones over here, like I said, I wanted to have a bouquet. For the top cutting, just a little experiment, I think. You know what? Let's chop this one too and leave it at the bouquet. There. So for the top cutting, I just have 2 leaves and then there's one growing. Probably gonna delay that. We just disturbed it. But yeah, I'm going to pot it here in the same pot where it came from and put it in the cabinet with this media. Just for experiment. It's just for my own observation. Yeah, we're going to do that. There. Yeah. And for this ones, just like this, I want to grow it into the potting media. I have another vessel in here. So yeah, here. Of course, we need to dip them here. Just put it then. Dip in the rooting normal. Maybe arrange it a little nicely. I mean, not that it matters because we're just basically using this temporarily to grow them. And then we'll separate them once they're stable and like rooted. But yeah, I want them to look nice. Who doesn't? Right? Because even if they are props, they're basically displayed in here. And like my friends keep on coming here in the plant room. Yeah. So yeah, we just need to water this one. I'm going to grab the water. So this is my nutrient solution. I'm just finishing off the trio of the General Hydro, but I'm not gonna use that anymore. I think I mentioned already before why. I mean, it's good. It's working well for my plants, but it's just too much work for me. We'll just keep it this way. Now I have 2 pots. One is the Aurea and one is the unknown that I need to confirm with Tiana. We're gonna move on to the last Monstera in my collection. And we're probably going to need to prop it because something's happening. This is my Adansonii Swedish ghost. And it's actually looking very pretty, very interesting, but we already know what it means when it's giving you full white like this. I also like how it's growing. It's very compact. I feel so bad that we have to disturb this, but it's for the sake of this plant. Like, we need to save it. Clearly, it's not doing well because it turned on full variegated. And even if we chop it, I can see that it's well rooted already. You guys can see the roots because it's growing compact, like I said. We need to chop from where it started growing fulvar. And it's down to 4 leaves if we do that. Honestly, I don't mind. If it's saving the plant, I'm here for it. So let's find that. And I can tell that it's well rooted, obviously. So maybe we need to take it out. Ooh, wow. It is well rooted. Okay, so we need to chop from where? Oh my god, this is growing so nice and compact. I wish it didn't happen so that we didn't have to disturb it. But it is what it is. I'm going to chop from here. and just see what we have. Okay, that's it. We're putting this one back to the pot. It's well rooted, it's fine. We just have to wait for a new growth point somewhere. And I love this plant. I love this plant. So, no harm done. No roots were damaged. Just chop. Okay. I think something that I didn't mention, whenever I prop any plant, like any at all, I make sure that I just watered them recently. So like this one, as you guys could see from the media, it looks like it's been watered just a few days ago. And that was before I left for vacation. So the other one, the Adansonii aurea earlier, the media was kind of dry. Although I watered them the same day. But it's probably because, as you guys have seen it, there were a lot of roots. The aerial roots are coming down and they've been drinking. So maybe that's why. Huh. Okay, so we're going to work on this one. I don't know if I want to save it. Like, it does look useless. You know what? Something reminded me. There are sellers who would pot this up and sell it, call it like, I don't know what kind of ghost, or invent some names like maybe Monstera, Adansonii, green stripe. Because they're still green at the middle and then it's white. I mean, it's just so annoying. I'm going to remove the ones with brown tips, and maybe we can try to grow it. But I honestly don't see any possibility at all, because if you look at the stem, that's where you would know the possibilities of it growing a variegated or green, at least slightly green leaf. But the stem is very white already. I don't think there's a chance, but knowing me, who likes to experiment on things, I'm probably going to. So yeah, this leaves doesn't help anymore. So yeah, I just need to dip it into the rooting hormone. There. And I'll probably pot it up. I'm not going to sell it. It's a huge risk for whoever's going to buy it. It's just for my experiment. Like, as you guys have seen on this one is reverted, and then it started growing variegation again. Who knows? This could start growing something like this. It's actual variegation. I hope so. But yeah. Let's do that. So yeah. Monsteras are very beautiful plants. Classic plants. Everybody loves them. I do love the green form. I have a very huge one, the big Deliciosa, and it was outside. It was at the backyard, and of course, I needed to figure out where to put it because winter was coming. I ended up giving it away because it's too huge. My only choice was to display it in ambient inside our place, and at the time, Theo was not yet so familiar with plants, and he would just keep on pulling it. So I just didn't bother. I gave it away, or like free with purchase on the marketplace. The person who has it is now a friend of mine, Anna, and she's been sending me photos of how huge it is. It's so beautiful. I'm going to show you guys the scenario over here. Okay, this is a very funny and overwhelming frame. But yeah, these are all the Monsteras that we worked on today. And I'm really happy with how that went, despite being surprised with all of these props from the Aurea. I did not expect that. But yeah, I'm so happy I now have 3 Monstera Thigh constellations, and this time I have a better sentimental value for it. This one again is the one that I've had for a while now. Like, it's part of my original batch of collection. This one is from Kitty. This one is from Tiana. I'm low-key waiting for something from Emma. I don't know if she's going to chop though. She doesn't chop her plants that much, but she has a very nice thigh constellation. And yeah, it's just so fun collecting plants from friends. It's so much different than buying them. I'm not saying that you should ask your friends for plants. I'm not saying that I'm going to do that. But most of the time we kind of like have a mutual understanding. Like, we don't say anything, but we kind of like trade. We give plant and then we receive plant. So I think that's just how plant friends work. But yeah, so this is a very fun video and at least new to me again. And I'm so happy that I was able to do all of those with you guys, and I hope you guys like it. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It would help my channel so much. And if you have questions, anything about plants, please leave them on the comments, and I would try my best to produce something like a video answering your question and maybe, you know, discuss something about whatever plant it is. Yeah, as you guys already can tell through my videos, I do have a very wide variety of plants in my collection. So I'm not saying I'm an expert in this thing. I'm still figuring things out as I go, but I'm always willing to share my experiences and my journey with you guys. So see you on the next video. Bye.